rather grey and gloomy day, but still wonderful that we've had rain. Now, my name is Jamie, and I'm going to be your safari guide for this morning. I'm going to take you on a journey throughout Africa. I also have Jean-Dre, who is sitting on the back and providing us with all of the incredible camera work. Now, I want you guys to sit back for a moment. I want you to close your eyes. Imagine you can feel the wind blowing on your face. You're excited. You're on a journey. Imagine you're sitting right here on the back of the vehicle. You can smell the fresh mud from the rains we had last night. How many of you have been on a game reserve before? How many of you have been on a game drive? There are some amazing things to see and do out here, and I'm going to take you through some of them. And I want to hear from you. What animal do you want to see? What would you most like to see? What is your favorite animal? And please send through as many questions as you want. I want to answer them. 8 years ago, I was sitting in that Rodin auditorium. I was in matric at Rodin, so I went to school there just like you lot. And this is where I am now, probably doing, to me, what is the best job in the world. There are so many fascinating things. So let's sit down. Make sure you keep your arms and legs in the vehicle, please, as well as watch for branches that might hit your head. So keep an eye out there. Let's go on an adventure. Let's go on a game drive. And while we drive, Demi, a very, very happy birthday to you. I hope you are having a wonderful day. What a treat. How many people get to go out on a game drive from their school on their birthday? Now, you'll notice I put my hat on. It's always important to take a hat out with you, even if it's cloudy, because you never know, the sun's starting to peek out. You might get some sun. It's important that you always carry sunscreen and you always have a hat, because the sun can do some serious damage to you. To protect yourself. Now, I'm heading out with my binoculars, my big backpack full of books. I've got books on trees, I've got books on birds, and all the interesting little insects that we see out here. And I found something interesting to show you. I think we'll have a look at that quickly. Actually, I'm going to back up for a second. I've got two interesting things I want to show you as we go on our African safari experience. First of all, I'm going to do something that might seem a little bit gross. Give me one moment. I'm going to unplug myself from all the cabling that is attached to me. I'm going to jump out. I'm going to show you something. Find a nice fresh piece. How gross is this? Now, I've picked up a pile of poo. And yes, this is animal poo. And I want to see if you guys can guess what it might be. And to do that, I have to break it open. Now, it's perfectly safe to do because I know that it's a herbivore. And have a close look inside. What do you see? Grass, lots of grass, and there's some leaves too. The other thing is the size, so my hands barely fit around this, and this is a small one. So what do you think does a really big poo that is full of grass and full of leaves? I'm going to return it back to nature so that it can feed the dung beetles, but I want to know if you can guess what it might be. I said I had two things to show you. The other one is an interesting one. Something that I picked up on the side of the road. Oh, let's stretch it out. Can you hear it crinkling? Now, what do you suppose that is? How many of you are scared of snakes? Because you absolutely shouldn't be, but that is what this is. In fact, we can even see the face. So let me switch it around for Jean-Dre there. try and hold it in place. Can you see the face? You can even see where the eyes were. How cool is that? Now snakes, when they grow, they can't add to their skin. So what they have to do is they have to get rid of one layer and shed it, which is what the snake has done. And they start at the nose and they move all the way down to the tip of the tail, which is what we've got where the tip of the tail has fallen off. We've got the back end there. Now, I'm sure lots of you are scared of snakes, and I'll tell you something. I used to be as well, before I learned more about them, and I have learned lots and lots about them. They're actually incredible animals, and all of your encounters with snakes, that snake is 10 times more afraid of you than you are of it. And it's really only people who play with them that get bitten or try and catch them, and of course that's just their defense mechanism. Wonderful to find all of those little bits and pieces. But I think we need to go on and see what we can find. And I definitely want to hear from you what it is that you would like to see, and I also want to hear questions. Now, Mara and Kylie, you want to see lions. We have some amazing lions out here. So at the moment, over the last few months, 5 big male lions came in from the north. They're known as the Birmingham Boys, and they moved into this area. They kicked the old males out, sent them running down to Londolozi, and they then have made this their territory. So you never know, they could well be somewhere around here. And at night we can hear them calling together. They all roar, and it's the most incredible experience. You can imagine 5 of them. I'm sure lots of you have seen documentaries or videos of lions calling. Imagine 5 of them all around. When they're right up close, you can feel it vibrating in your chest. Now, Jin and Murang, as well as Rosie, very well done. You are correct. That was a big pile of elephant poo. Now, it's perfectly safe to play with things like elephant poo, as long as you remember that you mustn't put your hands in your mouth afterwards, obviously, and you must always wash your hands as soon as you can if you have been playing with poo. The one thing I will never ever touch, and I'm quite at home in the bush. I get nice to feel everything, feel the texture, feel if it's warm, if it's fresh, but I don't ever touch lion poo, leopard poo, hyena poo, anything that eats meat. Mustn't touch it. Now I've spotted something to show you. Now these two live here. Stop for one moment so Chandra can have a look. And before I get started on the birds that we're looking at, Mrs. James wanted to know why the snake skin is white, and that's because it has lost most of the pigment, has degraded in the sun. Basically the sun breaks it down and all that's left is the keratin, so that white material we have on our fingernails, obviously. That is all that's left in a snake skin. The rest of the color pigments have degraded, broken down by the sun. And look who we've got here. I bet most of you don't know these birds, and that's because they fly all the way in from northern Africa every summer. They're called Wahlberg's eagles, and these two are really special because that pale chest color, that's incredibly rare. Only 5% of Wahlbergs are that pale color, and yet we have 2. And this is a male and a female. The female is the one on the left, the male is the one on the right, and I know that because in birds of prey, the female is always bigger, which means that she can boss her husband around. The wonderful thing is that although they fly for hundreds of kilometers every year, first of all, they stay together, they mate for life, so they are essentially married, and they return year after year to the same nest. And if we look a little bit to the right, there's a nest hiding in the tree there. That messy bundle of sticks is actually the Wahlberg's eagle's nest, and somewhere there is a baby. I'm not sure if it's hatched yet, I don't think so, but we can keep an eye on it. It should be hatching very soon, it's the right time of year. Well, it's fantastic to see these Wahlbergs, they are beautiful. Human beings walking. They've learned to associate that shape with danger over the last 1,000 or 2,000 years. But as soon as you crouch, as soon as you sit, and I've experienced this, I've walked wild lions before, I've encountered them on foot, and as soon as you drop down and you break that outline, they relax so much more and they get more comfortable with your presence. As long as you don't outstay your welcome. We are going to do a little bit of guesswork here. I'm going to see if I can direct us, and I'm going to ask you something. I want to see if you can figure this out. I'm just going to make sure Jean-Andre can get there. Can you see them there, Jean-Andre? We have a track here. The bush has left us clues. Somebody was walking down the road, and I'm going to hop out for a moment to show you, and I want to know if you can guess who that might have been. So, jump over the mud, it's a bit slippery. You can even see where he slipped. He's walking up the road, he's got 4 toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can actually see it quite clearly in this one as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So imagine the toes on your foot pointing this way. He's going this way. What could it be? It's something big. His legs are wide apart. His foot is huge, bigger than mine. What animal could we be looking for? Well, we'll have to follow the tracks and see if we can figure it out. But let me know what you think it is. And let's go tracking. Now, the one amazing thing about the bush is that the bush tells you stories. It leaves you clues, even if you aren't there to see what happened. Now, I know that those tracks are from last night because it rained last night and he's in the mud. So he's been walking in the mud. So there's bits of evidence and they're telling a story. Now, when I first started training to do this job, one of the first things they teach you is to read. It's like learning to read. It's to read the signs of the bush, to read the clues, like being a detective almost. And you learn so much about the way that animals behave just by looking at their tracks. You can see where they slip, you can see where they walk, how they walk, where they choose to walk. And that all helps when you get to the point where you're trying to predict where that animal is going to go. Our animal is still walking along this road. His tracks are still in the road. Let's see if we can figure out where he is. Keep your eyes open, guys. I need you to look for animals and help me spot, because I've got to do all the concentrating on the driving. I need extra pairs of eyes. The more eyes we have looking, the better for us. Amy, you were wondering where we are. We are essentially in the Greater Kruger National Park area. How many of you have been to the Kruger? I'm sure plenty of you. Amy, we're in the Sabi Sands, so we're on the western boundary of Kruger, in the bit that's owned by private, so individual peoples rather than the government. And We're right, but it's all open. It's a giant wild area. Animals have been roaming this land for years and generations, longer than our grandfathers or our grandparents have been alive. I think I found our mystery animal. I think I've spotted it. The animal we've been tracking. Duck my head so Andre can show you. It was not a lion that we were tracking. His feet were just that little bit bigger, much bigger. I'm going to introduce you to a hippo that we have named Peter. Let's see if we can sneak a little bit closer and find out what he's up to. I'm going to give him plenty of space. Shift around this way. Now, something always very important to remember is that this is their animal's home. This is where they live. It's really important to treat them with complete and utmost respect for their personal space. And here we have the gentleman responsible for leaving big muddy footprints in the dirt. Now, the story behind this hippo, he is called Peter because he lives in a pan. And that's the name given to these little water holes that you get around here. Now, Peter is an old hippo. Now, the person who came very close to guessing what that animal was Gabby. Gabby, you thought it was a rhino track, and I'm going to say very well done, because rhino tracks and hippo tracks do look very similar. The trick to remember is that hippos have 4 toes, and rhinos have 3. But sometimes in mud it's very difficult to see. Very well done to Vix and to Rosie for guessing it. It is Peter's tracks, Peter the hippo. Now, the story behind him, as I mentioned before, is quite a sad one, and I'm very glad outside the lodge. I have some amazing information about hippopotamuses. Did you know that they cannot swim? They are one of the only animals in the world that cannot swim. And yet they live in water. Now, Peter is lying on the muddy bottom. So he's resting his body weight at the bottom of the water. And when they want to move through deep dams or deep rivers, they just sink to the bottom and then run along in the direction that they want to go, but they have to run along the bottom. They can't propel themselves, and that's partly because they are absolutely enormous with very short legs. I know that this is a male, but it's a very tricky call to make, and I know that tomorrow you were wondering how you tell the difference between a boy and a girl, or a male or a female hippo. The answer is it's actually quite tricky, and you can't always do it. And the previous job I used to work at, I had to go and try and record how many hippos there were in the river and how many males, females. Incredibly difficult. The one thing you can look at is the size and the behavior. So you'll always be able to tell the dominant bull. He gets the most protective, he's the biggest, he's got quite a solid square head. But other than that, that's pretty much the only way that you can tell the difference, unless you see a mother and a baby, because then you know that it's a mom, and you know it's a female, because the fathers don't play any role in looking after their youngsters. Now, there's no easy way, because, interestingly, and another similarity with rhinos, hippos' testicles are up inside them. They're not external, they're internal. So you can't really tell in that way. So I know Peter's a male just because of his size. He's much, much bigger. But if he were younger, if he were smaller, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference if he were a male or a female. One of the tricky ones out here. Now, poor old Peter is very sleepy. I think he's going to doze away. And I think we should probably leave him in peace to continue his morning nap, because remember, hippos are nocturnal. They sleep during the day, and I think he's had quite enough interruptions of his morning nap. I've said that I can't tell boys and girls, and Djuma, you wanted to know how you can tell the different hippos apart. And the answer to that is generally you can't, unless they have very obvious markings. Now in this case, Peter has been living in this pan for a couple of days now, so I know that it's the same one, because remember how I said he was bullied by other males? Well, he's got a couple of scratches across the top of his back, scars that are just healing up from where the other hippos actually hurt him. Oh, my hat is blowing off. Put it down there for now. So I can't tell the difference between individual hippos unless they have clear markings or clear scars. Now the reason that Peter is quite happy in the water is because hippos feel safest in water. And Eva, you were wondering, would he charge the truck or why won't he? And the answer is he's getting pretty used to people coming and have a look at him. He's very comfortable with, oh my goodness. Hello. Oh, I love rain. Thank you, Jean-Andre. Gosh, I nearly didn't see this little guy. How cool is that? It's a little Speaks hinged tortoise. You can just see his head poking out. It's alright, little one. Oh, you're lucky I spotted you. You look almost like a rock. There he goes. Oh, I love tortoises. They are such cool little reptiles. Slowly moving. It always looks like they have to work so hard to walk. Oh, he's come out of a state that's almost like hibernating. During winter, they become dormant and they sleep for most of the winter. When the rains come and they know that they're going to have access to water, then they pop out. Might be going for a snack. Nope. Now, I would love to spend as much time as possible with this little guy, but we are going to run out of time, and I have a leopard that I need to look for. She's somewhere on the clearing, so we'll leave him for now. Be careful, little one. Our tortoises, as I said, are amazing creatures. I know that Dimple and Amy, you're really excited. You want to see leopards, so do I. I'll tell you something, I know that somewhere on this clearing there is a leopard, and we're going to go and find her. The reason I know that is, first of all, we saw her last night, but we also know that some of the guides have seen her this morning. Now I'm going to stop very briefly for a beautiful antelope, but I'm not going to stay too long. Hello, boy. A beautiful animal, something that you'll see in camps regularly. Hey, buddy, you're hiding now. You're being shy. Nope, there we go. Now, I'm sure that lots of you know what this is. It's a male nyala. Oop, duck my head down. Isn't he beautiful with that thick coat? Now, the best thing about nyalas is when they fight, or before they fight, they dance. Males dance with each other. They puff up all their fur, and they do a really slow, I can only describe it as a waltz, really. Look how pretty he is. And they do that, they do the dance to, intimidate each other. Right, we better go. We've got things to find, and unfortunately, as with every safari, limited time. Set that male guy ahead of us. Oh, there's another one. Y'all are everywhere. Now, as we scoot along the clearing, Tiara, you were wondering why was that a tortoise lying in the middle of the road? Well, as I said, they've just started to come out because of the rain. They've come to get some water, they've come to have a drink. And tortoises are capable of storing water, but not for indefinite periods of time. So they have a big, almost like a bladder in their bodies, and that's where they store their food. Store their water. But it doesn't last forever, and that little tortoise is coming out to find some grass to eat and find some water to drink, and just happened to be walking across the road as we were. It could also be, you never know, but it could also be a female looking for somewhere to lay eggs, or maybe looking for another tortoise to mate with. The amazing thing about tortoises is that the temperature of their eggs will determine which way, whether it's a male or a female that hatches. So they dig a hole and they bury their eggs inside the hole and they cover it up again, and depending on if it's hot, if they're close to the top, then they get plenty of sun. If they're down at the bottom, then it's a bit cooler. That will determine whether they're a boy or a girl. Now, Isabel, you saw how amazing those markings are, and you were wondering why they have them. The answer is because helps to camouflage them, believe it or not, especially in big patches, big thick patches of grass. You would never ever know that they're there. We need to find the sneaky leopard, so keep your eyes peeled. I'm going to drive nice and slowly around here, and let's see if we can figure out exactly where she is. Check in the trees. Now, leopards are beautifully camouflaged with those spots of theirs, but they have one thing that gives them away, and that's that flash of white around their tail. And that's generally a very good way to spot a leopard. Let's see if we can get that flash of white somewhere. It was stormy last night, it was very windy. Perfect weather for a leopard to hunt. Just coming round the corner, and I think I'm going to end up answering Yua's question. We found some evidence to tell us about this leopard, and I'm going to show you what I mean in a moment. Let's approach nice and slowly. You wanted to know if they're carcasses. Well, I have something that is very sad to see, but it is very much a part of nature. Move in so that Jean-Ray can show you. Very sad to see, but we have the leopard's breakfast. An impala that she's caught sometime last night that she's put into the tree to keep it out of reach of other predators. Now, the secret is, where could this leopard be hiding? She's not in the tree with her breakfast. Where could she be? Keep your eyes peeled. Let's see if you can spot her. She's not going to go far. She's not hungry at the moment, but she's not going to go far away from it. Where is she? Aha! I've seen her. I'm not sure if you have yet. Let me get around to show you. Can you believe it? I'm facing her. I'm going to approach nice and slowly. She's on a nice clear area to see her. I'm not going to move too close. Have you guys spotted her yet? Let's see if Chandra can show you where she is. She's being kind to us. She's right out in the open. And here is the beautiful Karula. And Karula means peace. Karula is she is known as the Queen of Djuma around here. A beautiful, beautiful leopard. She's 11 years old and she rules over this whole part of Djuma as her territory. Keeps all the other female leopards out, but she's surrounded by the daughters that she's had over the years. How exciting is this? We get to see a leopard. For those of you who really wanted to, I'm glad that we spotted her. She's looking very full and very, very relaxed. Our Karula is an incredibly bright and courageous leopard. She's learned clearly that if she leaves her food on the ground, something is going to come along and steal it. Now, the secret of leopards is that they're actually pretty much scared of all of the other big carnivores. They're chased away by lions, hyenas, even wild dog will chase a leopard away. So she's had to learn that in order to look after herself and keep her food safe, she's got to pull it into a tree. What's incredible is the fact that she probably weighs the same as that impala does, and yet she has the strength to put it in her mouth and climb up the trees with her claws and pull it up there. Now, of course, it's always sad to see, but there are lots and lots of impala around here, and not that many leopards. And most I know that Megan Rains, you were wondering why she hasn't eaten her breakfast yet, and I think the answer is that at the moment she just cannot fit any more. She cannot fit one more mouthful in her. Her belly is very, very distended. It's not as clear when she's lying down, but she definitely looks a little bit like she's swallowed a balloon or a beach ball or something. And it's that amazing ability of all the big cats, cheetah, leopard, lion, when they get a chance to eat, they eat as much as they can, as quickly as they can, in a way that actually pushes their organs up and pushes up against their lungs, into their diaphragm, which is why quite often you'll see them panting. So with all of that heat, because digesting all that meat makes them very, very hot. It's like you guys, if you have a really big meal, maybe on Christmas, or have a big family lunch, and you feel so full and exhausted afterwards, that's what she's feeling like. She probably will go up and have a snack on it in a moment, maybe sometime in the next few hours, and she might even head down then to the dam and have a quick drink. She is looking incredibly relaxed. Now, that hunt would also have taken an enormous amount of energy out of her. Impalas are not slow, and they are very strong, and they obviously fight back. And she would probably have crept up stealthily using her camouflage. Now, Jessica, you were wondering about why leopards have rosettes just like her, and cheetahs have spots, because that's the way around. You can see a little bit of the rosettes on her side, and the answer is it's just different evolutions of the same technique. They both use the spots as a way of camouflage. You might find that because leopards do a lot of their hunting at night, it works a bit better with the rosettes. The camouflage works a bit better with the rosettes, as opposed to cheetah, which hunt during the day. Now, I'll tell you something fascinating. Cheetah hunt during the day, and you know those dark stripes that run down the inside of their eyes that look like tears where the path runs down? That is so that if they are hunting during the day and they're running into the sun, it doesn't make them feel like they have to squint. It takes away some of the glare, it absorbs some of the glare. But for a leopard like Karula, she's got the opposite. She's got white stripes under her eyes. I know, Addie, you were wondering how many cubs Karula has had. And Gabby, you were wondering how many cubs Karula has had. And the answer is I'm actually not too sure, but there have been a good couple of generations. There was two with Shadow and a twin. and I think it's somewhere around the region of 9 cubs, and it's incredible because she's been such a successful mother. I want you to really enjoy the beauty and the peace of an animal like this. I hope that as many of you as possible will have a chance to come out and visit and experience this. I'm glad that we could bring you this little bit of Africa first thing on a Monday morning. There's nothing like, for me, the feeling of love that I have for this place and the animals out here, and I hope that I can encourage all of you to share that with me. Have a wonderful day, ladies. I hope you have had a good game drive, and we hope to have you back again sometime. But grade 2, enjoy the rest of your school day and have a wonderful time. From myself and Jandre, bye bye for now.